Welcome back to the Go Slow to Go Fast podcast, where we embrace intentional living and discover how to create a life of purpose, balance, and joy. I'm your host, Kendra Chapman, and today we're diving into fascinating concepts around Ikigai, that Japanese term about purpose, your reason for being. It's about finding the sweet spot where passion, mission, vocation, and profession come together. We'll explore how the 10 pillars of my Go Slow to Go Fast approach also serves as a framework for uncovering your Ikigai. These pillars help us build a meaningful life by focusing on what truly matters, letting go of what doesn't, and embracing a slower, more intentional pace. Let's dive in. So, discovering your Ikigai. What is Ikigai, first of all? Let's start with those basics. Ikigai is spelled Ikigai. It is two Japanese words put together. It is pronounced Ikigai, and it is Japanese, combining the word iki, meaning life, and gai, meaning worth or value. So essentially, it's about finding your life's purpose, the thing that gets you out of bed every morning. But here's the beauty of Ikigai. It's not about grand achievements or lofty goals. It's about discovering joy, or Hygge, as I like to say, and the meaning in everyday life. Your Ikigai could be your career, but it could just be as easily narrowed down to your relationships, your hobbies, or the way you contribute to your community. So I've really honed in on the concept of Ikigai these last couple of years as my family and I were in the process of drafting our plans to build our dream home and then moving across states to live a different life. And so now we are in our dream home. We've been in our home for about a year now. It took us a good 3 years to build it. We started breaking ground around COVID time and just a little bit before COVID. And then we finished this time last year. So in 2023, the end of 2023, as we started 2024. And so now I've been in my dream home for a year and I'm taking stock as I head into 2025 about what I want to do next. And so my dream is to have a more purposeful life as I make a home base in this dream home of ours and then start to grow this podcast. I want to reach out and connect with a like-minded community. So if you're listening to this podcast, thank you for being here. And I hope you stay through the end and we can figure out this purpose for life together. And so how do I connect to Ikigai in my daily life? Well, I've created 10 pillars to really hone in on what my purpose is in life. And I'm taking these concepts with me into the 2025 year. So that's where my Go Slow to Go Fast lifestyle comes into play. These pillars provide a framework for discovering and living in alignment with my purpose. So I'm here to share with you those 10 pillars. So the first one I shared in my first podcast. If you haven't listened to that, please go back and listen in on Hygge. It is a Danish concept which really just means cozy and comforting. And so whatever you can do to bring Hygge into your life, it'll be more cozy. And so I find joy in that every day, finding those comforts and connection in seeking out Hygge. So that's my number one pillar, is really creating that small moment every day of Hygge, which creates happiness for me as I feel cozy in my space, either at home or at work. My second pillar for the Go Slow to Go Fast lifestyle is less is more. Simplifying my life has really helped me, definitely as I've moved across states. We were in a rental house for a while, then we moved into a farmhouse that was on our property as we were building our new log cabin. And so we really had to pare down with each move. And so as I went through my belongings and really cut down on a lot of things, I realized, a lot of the things in my boxes that I had packed away for the last 3 years before moving into this house, I didn't use. So I was realizing that less is more. To really simplify my life makes sense, and I can really make room for more of that Ikigai, that purpose. So that physical and mental clutter can really obscure your purpose. So if you take that mindset into your life day to day and think about that less is more, really even thinking about that Marie Kondo approach, right? What brings you joy? Sort out your things, think about what you can give away, what you need to keep, and what you can repurpose. And so that really has helped me over the last couple of years or few years that I've been in a transition, moving to now being in a simpler space. I didn't want to bring all that clutter with me. So I've adopted that less is more attitude. My number 3 pillar is alignment. So really thinking about Ikigai and how I can align my beliefs into my actions really helps me focus on my purpose. So staying true to your values and passions can really help you focus in on what your Ikigai is. And when you match those, life is going to feel more meaningful. And so I definitely seek that alignment in my day-to-day. My next pillar is stillness. I don't do this as well without practice every day. So I really have to take time to practice that stillness. And I read a book about stillness a couple of years ago when I was first moving into that farmhouse on our property. We didn't have space for things like a microwave in our kitchen. We didn't have the wattage. It was an old farmhouse. It didn't have the electrical wiring that had been updated yet. And so we couldn't bring things like microwaves into the house. And so I really had to simplify my cooking process for cooking meals and reheating meals for my family and myself. And then I really had to think about what was I going to do every day, because we didn't have the basic heating in this house either. There was no heat. So we had to bring in heaters that we could install on the wall and have those comfy layers of blankets, and think about other heat sources in our house for the next year and a half that we spent on the farm while we were building. And so I really thought about ways to stay motivated in that space of not having the heat and comfort that I'm used to, and having a microwave for like little things like popcorn and stuff. So I really started to think about ways to be still and have that mindful practice so I could really focus on what I wanted in my day-to-day. And so I read a book, Stillness is the Key, and that really helped me focus in. And I'm looking up the author now because I know it was helpful, by Ryan Holiday. Stillness is the Key. That definitely got me thinking, like, if that is the key and I can do that more, then I think more will come. And that's where I started to really develop the idea of go slow to go fast. I started thinking, I want to write about this. I want to speak about this. And that's where I really started to develop my ideas around how to make that work for me first. Because I thought I can't speak to it and I can't make it make sense for others if I can't basically walk the talk. So Stillness is the Key. It was a great book, great read. I'll probably read it again this year just to remind myself of the little things that I can do to have those quiet moments to myself, to really align, right, in my space, have that simple space around me where there's not a lot of clutter, really getting into that mindset of being still. And then, I think there's a time for being still so I can meditate and listen to what comes in. And then there's a time to move. And so my next pillar is movement. And I'm not running marathons. I'm not that person anymore. I never ran a marathon, but I used to be an athlete, pretty active in my childhood into my 20s and 30s. But after a while, I had to give that up because my knees were going bad. I have arthritis. I have to be really mindful of my joints. And so now yoga, walking, and if I can, get to a pool, swimming. Those are my 3 ways that I move. And that brings me joy. And that allows me to be still. And so I've recently, when I was listening to someone on a podcast, I think they were talking about yoga practices and how it's really ancient practice to move first in yoga. So then you can be still. So you can still your mind, you can be still in your mind and really focus. And so that connected for me just in the last year of like, that's why I'm so restless when I try to sit and be still and meditate. And then I find myself stretching and moving and finding a comfortable spot. So really, it's better for me to do my yoga, and it can be 10 minutes. There are so many YouTube videos on 5, 3, 5, 10 yoga stretches that you can do for 3, 5, 10 minutes. I mean, it doesn't have to be 30 minutes, doesn't have to be 20 minutes. You can do a meaningful, quick yoga session and get your body ready to relax through movement and then be still. So there are ways to, get all those pieces into play at the right time. But if you're somebody who needs to meditate first, then do yoga, then you know your body better than anybody. And so for me, I need to do some movement first. It can be stretching, it can be yoga, and then go into some sort of meditation where I like to do writing while I'm meditating, do some visualization and some breathing. And so in movement, it can be just breathing, where you're breathing in and breathing out, making sure that your belly is expanding when you're breathing in and then contracting when you're breathing out, and really practicing that breathing. I like to do the 4-box breath, where you're breathing in for 4, holding it for 4, out for 4, and then holding it for 4, and then back in for 4. So you go 4, 4, 4, 4. You can do this 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, and keep it stretching it out if you can. Breathing is movement, so that would work too. And some days I can't do anything other than some neck stretches, some shoulder stretches, and breathing. And that's okay. I'm going to go slow to go fast. And that's something I keep reminding myself all the time. It's okay. I need to work with my body where it is, my mind where it is, and take it out on myself. So movement exercises and energizes my body and my mind, and prepares me to live intentionally in my go slow to go fast mindset and lifestyle. Structure. That's my 6th pillar, and that is where my planning really helps me. I really try to do this at the beginning of every week to plan out my week so I know what's coming, what to expect each day, and plan out my blocks of time on my schedule. So then as I head into my week, I'm practicing those good habits. I'm really thinking, okay, this is what I need to get done this week. And I really think about it in 3s. I'm a mom of triplets. 3 has always kind of been my thing anyway. I feel like it's helpful to think of 3 things at a time. It's manageable. So if I can think of 3 things I want to get done in a week that are big, and then narrow that down to what 3 actions can I take every day to get those 3 things done, the better I'm going to feel. I'm going to feel like I've accomplished my goal, and I'm going to feel like I've been productive. So structure. Everything from planning my meals on Sundays to planning my schedule, building out my calendar, and then writing down those 3 things that I can do each day to make sure I meet my big 3 of that week. That's going to make me feel like I'm winning, basically. Yep. So structure. It helps me turn those good habits into aspirations into actionable goals. So then, as I'm doing all these things, I need to also build in time for relaxation. And I have no problem doing nothing until I have to be still. So I've learned I can be still on the couch, and that's still relaxing, and that's okay. And relaxing for me is watching a movie, reading something on my laptop. I love doing genealogy, and so I can do that on the computer and feel like my body is relaxed. My mind is learning, and so I feel like I have that purpose. Relaxing can also be just hanging out with my kids, but that tends to not bring me or my body relaxation. But I do definitely hit that later. That's my 10th pillar, which is fun. So I would say relaxing is just really where I'm vegging. I'm resting. And sleep. Sleep would also count in this category. The more sleep I can get, I try to get to bed by 9:30 every night, because I'm waking up between 4 and 4:30 every morning during the week. And so I definitely need my sleep. So sleep, rest will definitely help me balance out my effort to sustain with that rest, to sustain my journey towards purpose. And then I can focus. So if I have my sleep and I have my structures and I'm moving and I'm still when I need to be still and all those things are happening and I'm seeing that alignment and I'm focusing in a space where there's a lot less clutter, then I'm going to feel that Hygge and I'm going to be able to focus. And so the 8th pillar is focus. Defining and achieving my goals resonate with my Ikigai. Right? So if I can focus on that, then I can meet my goals and then I can feel my purpose. And number 9 is nourishment. I'm learning, this is something that I'm learning more and more, that I've been eating for comfort. And I definitely love bar food. That has been something that I've always loved throughout my life. French fries, hamburgers, not really the hot dogs necessarily, but definitely hamburgers and French fries, those fried foods. And so I'm learning more and more that I can have potatoes as long as they're healthier, like a roasted potato and not fried. I can have a hamburger as long as I don't have the bread. I can put it on salad. So I'm learning how to nourish my body with the foods I love, but I'm not eating for the reward factor. I'm eating to nourish. And so fuel for my body, I'm trying to be more mindful about that so I can build in those good habits so I can support my energy and be more resilient. And so that's something I'm definitely working on too this year. And last but not least, fun. That's my number 10 pillar. I want to have fun, and that includes spending time with family and working on my hobbies, doing things that I enjoy. And so right now, what I enjoy doing is genealogy. I like researching my family roots. I like to dabble in sewing. I've taken a sewing class, I bought a sewing machine. I've learned a few things that I can sew. And it's really just, I've been able to mend a few things for my family, like socks and hems that need to be mended and tears and things. I can mend things on the fly, but now I'm learning how to hem curtains or hem a dress or hem pants. And then my next goal is to learn how to do some Halloween costumes. That'll be cool. And then really just practicing life's simple pleasures. So what fun I can bring into my day throughout my week. Generally, I'm going to feed that into my weekends. But what also brings me fun, or what areas that I get, things that I find fun right now include genealogy, where I can search my family roots, traveling, and gardening in the spring and summer and fall. In the winter, I like to sew and do research on things that I'm learning about. And I also enjoy connecting through podcasts. And so I like to listen to podcasts during my commute to work and home. And now I find that I'm called to create a podcast and get my message out there. So it's definitely bringing the fun. And I'm enjoying life's simple pleasures this way. By weaving in these pillars in my life, I've been creating balance and clarity. And I have made a deeper connection to my purpose, or Ikigai. So now for the third part of this podcast, how to find your Ikigai. This is a personal reflection. Let's talk about how you find Ikigai. So I'm going to ask 4 questions, and this is where, when you overlap these 4 concepts, this is where you're going to find your Ikigai. So think about 4 circles, and they're going to overlap. What do you love? What are you good at? What does the world need? And what can you be paid for? The overlap of these answers is where your Ikigai lies. So for me, my Ikigai has evolved over time. Right now, it's leading a school community with a purpose and also nurturing my family with intention and enjoying the simple joys of life on our farm out in this rural landscape. So the 10 pillars keep me grounded and remind me of the meaning of life, and that it is found in both the big moments and the small ones. So here's an example. Our family meals are not always picture perfect, by no means, but they're a moment of connection, nourishment, and joy. And in these moments, I see Hygge, or that Ikigai alignment for me, and fun coming together. So it's cozy when we all sit down around the table together, and I get to hear about my family's day. I get to share about my day, and we have fun coming together. And so that's just one example of how to have that Ikigai focus in your daily life. So what about you? What brings you joy? What gives your life meaning? In this week, I challenge you to explore your Ikigai through the lens of the 10 pillars that I shared earlier. So reach out and let me know your Ikigai, either by DMing me on Instagram at Coaching with Kendra Chapman. That's COACHING with Kendra Chapman, KENDRA, Chapman with a P, CHAPMAN, or emailing me at coachingwithkendrachapman@gmail.com. I also have a website by the same name, coachingwithkendrachapman.com. Thank you guys for joining me today for this Go Slow to Go Fast episode. And if it resonated with you and you feel like sharing it with somebody else, that would be wonderful. And please consider checking out my podcast episodes on www.coachingwithkendrachapman.com or on other platform where you get your podcasts. And please like, subscribe, and share it with 2 people who could benefit from exploring their purpose. Until next time, remember, the leader in me sees the leader in you. And as we head into the next week, let your light shine through. Let's slow down, savor the journey, and move forward with purpose.